Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck, feeling like no matter how hard you work, you just can't seem to get ahead financially? It's a story all too common, but sometimes the most inspiring lessons come from those who have walked the toughest paths. Take Sheldon Adelson, for example. Growing up as the son of a cab driver in Dorchester, Massachusetts, young Sheldon knew the harsh realities of financial struggle, sleeping on the floor of his family's modest apartment. At 12, he started delivering newspapers, igniting his first spark of entrepreneurial spirit. Adelson's journey wasn't a straight path to riches. It was a road marked by resilience and strategic thinking. After dropping out of college, he dabbled in everything from vending machines to real estate. Even after losing a significant portion of his wealth in a recession, he didn't give up. Instead, he leveraged his experience and insights to become the CEO of Las Vegas Sands, the world's largest casino company, amassing a staggering net worth of $29.8 billion. His story is a testament to the fact that financial success isn't just about where you start or the setbacks you face. It's about how you play the game of money. This brings us to the core of our video today, in which we are going to talk about the 8 laws of money to become rich. These aren't just tips. They are the guiding principles that can lead you from financial struggles to wealth, much like they did for Adelson. So before proceeding to these 8 laws, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and let's get started from law number 1. The number 1 law of money to become rich is that money grows on trees. Yes, you heard that right. And before you ask, no, we haven't started a gardening channel. Now, growing up, you were probably told money doesn't grow on trees. Well, in the world of wealth, that's not entirely true. Imagine money as a tree that you need to plant and nurture. But remember, not just any soil will do. It needs to be nutrient-rich. This is like choosing the right investment or business opportunity. You can't just throw your money or time into barren land and hope for the best. Now, think about planting a real tree. It's not like you just toss a seed into the ground and voila, you have an apple tree the next day. It requires patience, care, and the right conditions. In the financial world, this translates to investing time and resources wisely and nurturing your investments. Let's say you're planting an oak tree. It's a slow grower. You might wait 10, 20, or even 30 years for it to mature. But once it does, it's a sight to behold and lasts for generations. This is similar to long-term investments or building a business. The initial years might be slow, but with persistence, it can provide a steady income stream. Or, in our analogy, an endless supply of acorns. Think about it this way. If money really grew on trees, we'd all be out in our backyards with watering cans instead of at the office. But in a sense, we are, just in the financial market rather than the garden. Take Warren Buffett, for instance. He didn't just wake up one day and find himself wealthy. He planted his financial trees early, cared for them, and watched them grow over decades. His investment strategy is a perfect example of money growing on trees. To illustrate this further, let's imagine 2 friends, Lily and Rose. Lily decides to work hard and save her money under her mattress, believing that's the safest way to secure her future. Rose, on the other hand, chooses to invest her money in a diversified portfolio. Fast forward 20 years, and Lily's savings have remained static, while Rose's investments have grown significantly, much like a well-tended tree. As the famous investor Robert G. Allen once said, "How many millionaires do you know who have become wealthy by investing in savings accounts?" I rest my case. In short, the first law in our Laws of Money to Become Rich series teaches us that to grow wealth, you must think like a gardener. Plant the right seeds in the right soil, nurture them, and have the patience to watch them grow. Remember, your financial tree won't sprout overnight, but with the right care, it will bear fruit for years to come. Moving forward to our next 8 Laws of Money to Become Rich series. This one might come as a surprise. There is no limit to what you can spend. Now, before you start planning a shopping spree, let's unpack this. I remember my own days of living paycheck to paycheck. Budgeting was my middle name. I always thought, if I just earned a bit more, I'd start investing. But here's the catch. When my income increased, so did my spending. It's a common trap many fall into, often known as lifestyle inflation. Consider this. As you climb the income ladder, your lifestyle tends to follow suit. Suddenly, that extra money you planned to invest starts going into upgrading your lifestyle. It's like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet. Just because you can eat everything doesn't mean you should. Let's bring in a heavy hitter for inspiration, Elon Musk. Believe it or not, at one point he survived on $1 a day in the United States to prove to himself that he could manage his finances under extreme conditions. Now, we are not suggesting you drop to $1 a day diet. That's a bit extreme, and let's be honest, not everyone can make a tasty meal out of noodles and hot sauce. But it highlights an important point. It's possible to live well below your means, even when you have the means to live well. Picture this scenario. Two friends, Jack and Jill. Jack gets a raise and immediately upgrades his car, moves to a fancier apartment, and starts dining out every night. Jill also gets a raise, but she sticks to her modest car, comfortable home, and home-cooked meals. She funnels the extra income into savings and investments. Fast forward a few years, and while Jack is struggling to keep up with his expanded lifestyle, Jill has built a substantial nest egg. It's essential to strike a balance. Yes, enjoy the fruits of your hard work. Travel, explore, live. But remember, the goal isn't to spend everything you earn. It's about creating a cushion, a financial safety net that allows you to enjoy life without financial stress nipping at your heels. As the famous saying goes, it's not your salary that makes you rich, it's your spending habits. Think about it. It's not about how much water flows through the hose, it's about how much you can capture and store in your barrel. In essence, this law in our 8 Laws of Money to Become Rich series teaches us a vital lesson. Your income has no ceiling, but your expenses shouldn't either. It's about mastering the art of discipline, understanding that just because you can spend more doesn't mean you should. It's about building wealth, not just living wealthy. Next, we have a pivotal understanding with law number 3. Money is a lifelong game. Most of us, when first got serious about finances, we have this illusion in our head. Reach a certain income, stick to a strict budget for a while, then retire early to enjoy the fruits of labor. Sounds like a dream, right? But here's the reality check. When you hit that target income, it suddenly didn't seem enough. The goalpost kept moving. This law is like saying, I'll just get fit this year and then I never have to exercise again. We all know how that story ends. Financial health, much like physical health, is not a one-and-done deal. It's a continuous process. Take real estate, for instance. Buying a house doesn't automatically mean you'll find tenants. Neglect it, and that asset quickly turns into a liability. It's like getting a pet and not feeding it. Sure, it's cute and cuddly, but without care and attention, things can go south pretty fast. The idea of creating an asset and then doing nothing is, frankly, absurd. It's like planting a garden and expecting it to thrive without any further effort. Even if you build a successful business, you can't just set it and forget it. There are competitors lurking around every corner ready to outdo you. To illustrate this, imagine 2 entrepreneurs, Laura and Bob. Laura builds a successful bakery and then decides to take a back seat, thinking it'll run itself. Bob, on the other hand, continuously innovates, updates his business model, and stays engaged with his bakery. Over time, Alice's bakery loses its charm and customers, while Bob's flourishes. You might think of retiring one day, and sure, you can automate some tasks, reduce working hours, but the game of money is ongoing. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, a lifelong marathon. The world's wealthiest individuals exemplify this. They work not because they have to, but because the game of wealth creation and management is perpetual. Warren Buffett, at over 90 years old, still actively manages his investments. It's not about the necessity, it's about the game. This law of money to become rich reminds us, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. In the context of wealth, if you think managing money is hard, try not managing it. So the third law teaches us that money management is not a phase or a temporary challenge. It's a continuous, lifelong journey. It's about staying in the game, not just reaching a milestone and checking out. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far and want to enjoy more topics like this, comment the word "more" so I know. Moving on in our enlightening series, Laws of Money to Become Rich, we come to a profound and often overlooked truth with the next law, which is, money won't solve your insecurities. This law tackles a common misconception head-on. Many of us at some point have believed that a fatter bank account would magically erase our insecurities. It's like thinking a new outfit will transform us into a new person. Spoiler alert, it won't. Picture this. You buy that flashy car, move into a sprawling mansion, upgrade your phone every time a new model drops. Why? To be admired, accepted, to fill that void of insecurity. Sure, that new car smell might give you a high for a week, maybe two, but then it just becomes another car. The void, still there, unfilled. Next, you're eyeing an even pricier model. It's a never-ending loop, a treadmill of materialism that keeps you running but never reaching. It's like watering your lawn while ignoring a leak in your house. The grass might look greener, but the problem inside remains unsolved. Remember, your insecurities are like bottomless pits. No amount of money can fill them. They'll just keep draining your bank account, leaving you and your insecurities in the same spot. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole at the bottom. To put this into perspective, consider a fictional character, Max. Max believes that buying a luxury yacht will make him feel more successful and accepted by his peers. Initially, it works. He enjoys the attention, the admiration. But soon, the excitement fades. The yacht just becomes a boat, and Max is left feeling just as insecure, if not more. Instead of splurging to compensate for insecurities, the real solution lies elsewhere. It's about regulating your emotions, improving social skills, and building genuine confidence. It's about understanding that true acceptance comes from within, not from what you own. As the wise saying goes, money can buy a house but not a home. It can buy a bed but not sleep. The same applies to insecurities. Money might offer a temporary fix, but it won't cure the underlying issues. This law of money to become rich teaches us a crucial lesson. While money can buy comfort and luxury, it cannot buy self-esteem, acceptance, or inner peace. These are things you cultivate within yourself. Continuing our journey through the laws of money to become rich, we arrive at a law that serves as both a caution and a wisdom, and that is, don't let anyone know that you have money. This law might seem counterintuitive in our age of social media where flaunting wealth seems like the norm. It's like living in a world where everyone is eager to show off their latest golden egg, but nobody talks about the goose that laid it. Let's face it, we often equate financial success with social status. It's tempting to want to broadcast our achievements, thinking it'll elevate our standing. But here's the twist. Money, like a bright light, attracts all sorts of bugs. Suddenly you find people swarming around you, not for who you are, but for what you have. Imagine this. You win the lottery and decide to announce it to the world. Overnight, you're the most popular person in town. Old friends you haven't heard from in years are suddenly in touch, and everyone has a business idea that just needs a little financial help. It's like being a walking, talking ATM. In our fictional scenario, let's meet Jake. He lands a high-paying job and starts flaunting his wealth. Fancy cars, designer clothes, lavish parties. Initially, it feels great. He enjoys the attention and respect. But soon he realizes that most people are only interested in his wallet. When he faces a financial hiccup, many of these friends disappear. Now, let's contrast this with Emma. She also does well for herself but chooses a different path. She keeps her financial success under wraps, living modestly and focusing on her goals. Emma enjoys genuine relationships, free from the worry of ulterior motives. It's not about living a life of deceit or being ashamed of your success. It's about understanding that true respect and relationships should be based on who you are, not what you have in your bank account. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, still lives in a relatively modest house he bought in the 1950s. He understands this law better than anyone. As he famously said, "Price is what you pay, value is what you get." In terms of relationships, this means valuing authenticity over financial display. So this law in our 8 Laws of Money to Become Rich series teaches us the value of humility and discretion. It's not about hiding your success. It's about protecting your peace and ensuring that the relationships you build are genuine and not just dollar deep. Next, in our ongoing exploration of the laws of money, we now delve into law number 6, a principle that reveals a surprising truth about wealth. The greatest wealth transfers happen during crises. Let's take a trip down memory lane to 2008. The economy crashed, unemployment rates soared, and the financial landscape was more like a scene from a disaster movie. Now, it's easy to assume that during such times, money simply vanishes into thin air. But here's the twist. Money doesn't disappear, it just changes hands. This law is like saying, when it rains, it pours. Except in this case, it's not just water, it's money. And while some are running for cover, others are setting out buckets. During these crises, while many were tightening their belts, a few savvy individuals saw an opportunity. They understood that crisis breeds opportunity and that fortunes are often made in the wake of economic turmoil. It's like finding a treasure map in the middle of a storm. It's like going to a garage sale and finding a rare painting for $10 that's worth thousands. Only in this case, the garage sale is a financial crisis, and everyone else is too busy panicking to notice the masterpiece. Take Jay Walker. He became a millionaire in less than a year by capitalizing on the dot-com bubble. Sure, his fortune wasn't sustainable, but he managed to keep hundreds of millions. Then there's Mark Cuban, who candidly said, "You are lucky to become a billionaire." He recognized that his billionaire status was partly due to the financial crisis of 1998. To further illustrate this, imagine two friends, Sam and Alex. Sam views the financial crisis as a doomsday scenario, pulling out all his investments and stuffing his money under the mattress. Alex, on the other hand, sees it as a once-in-a-lifetime sale on Wall Street. He carefully invests in undervalued stocks. Fast forward a few years, and while Sam's savings have barely grown, Alex has doubled his investment. This law is akin to gardening in a storm. While everyone else is busy protecting their existing plants, the savvy gardener is planting new seeds, knowing that post-storm, these seeds will thrive. A famous quote by Warren Buffett encapsulates this law perfectly. "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." It's about seeing the silver lining in the dark clouds of economic crises. So this law in our 8 Laws of Money to Become Rich series teaches us that financial crises, while challenging, can be golden opportunities for wealth creation. It's about understanding the system, researching past crises, and positioning yourself to be on the right side of the transfer when the next crisis hits. As we continue our exploration in this Laws of Money journey, we encounter a crucial and often inevitable reality with law number 7, which is, as you get older, your expenses will grow. This law is an eye-opener, especially for those who still think $100 is a lot of money. Remember when you were 18 and $100 felt like a fortune? Fast forward to the present, and it barely fills your car's gas tank. It's like realizing that your favorite childhood snack is not as big as you remembered it. It's not the snack that's changed, it's you. The reality is, as we age, our lifestyles evolve. What once seemed like a luxury becomes a necessity. Think of it like a video game. As you level up, the challenges get harder, and the cost of equipment goes up. Suddenly, you're not just battling little goblins, you're facing dragons, and they're not cheap to take down. Let's dive into a common scenario. When you're single, your financial responsibilities might be limited to personal expenses. But life has a way of leveling up. You might start a family, and suddenly, you're not just budgeting for one. It's like going from managing a small garden to an entire farm. Now imagine two friends, Tom and Jerry. Tom is earning well and thinks he's got it all figured out. He spends without planning for the future. Jerry, on the other hand, understands that as he ages, his expenses will grow. He starts investing and planning for future expenses. Over time, Tom finds himself struggling to keep up with growing costs, while Jerry enjoys a comfortable lifestyle, even with increased expenses. The lesson here is as straightforward as it gets. If your income doesn't grow with your expenses, you're setting yourself up for a financial crunch. It's like trying to fill a growing hole with the same amount of dirt each time. Eventually, you'll run out of dirt. A quote by Benjamin Franklin perfectly encapsulates this law. "Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship." It's not just the big expenses. It's the gradual increase in small expenses that can catch you off guard. So in short, this law of money to become rich is a call to action. It's about recognizing that life gets more expensive as you progress. It's not about cutting out all joys of life. It's about preparing for these increases in expenses through intelligent planning and increasing your income. The next law from our 8 laws of money to become rich is about a fundamental truth about wealth. Wealth accumulates over time. Just like you can't rush a tree to grow overnight, you can't expect your wealth to skyrocket instantly. It's like expecting to bake a cake in 5 minutes. Even if you crank up the oven to the max, you'll likely end up with a kitchen disaster. Remember, the magic of wealth lies in the power of compounding. With as little as $200, you can start your journey towards wealth accumulation. Think of it like planting a seed. At first, it's just a tiny thing buried in the soil, hardly noticeable. But given time, that seed can grow into a mighty tree. The world's most successful investor, Warren Buffett, began investing at the tender age of 11. Now you might be thinking, what was I doing at 11? Probably trying to beat the high score on your favorite video game, not thinking about stocks and bonds. Let's put this into perspective with an interesting fact. By investing just $60, the cost of a new smartphone, you could potentially make your grandchild a billionaire. Yes, you heard that right. In 100 years, that modest investment could grow to over $1 million without any additional input. You won't be around to see it, but imagine the legacy you'd leave. It's like burying a time capsule filled with gold. Now let's bring in a fictional scenario. Meet Amy and Brian, both 25 years old. Amy decides to invest $100 every month, while Brian chooses to spend that money on the latest gadgets. Fast forward 40 years, and Amy has built a substantial nest egg, thanks to the power of compounding, while Brian is still living paycheck to paycheck, wondering where all his money went. Warren Buffett's story illustrates this law perfectly. He made his first billion at 55 and his second billion just 3 years later. In fact, he made 98% of his fortune after his 55th birthday. It's like spending years building a snowball and then watching it rapidly roll down a hill, growing bigger with every turn. The lesson here is clear. Start early and be patient. It's not about getting rich quickly, it's about getting rich surely. As the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a fortune. So this law in our Laws of Money to Become Rich series is a reminder that wealth is a long-term game. It's about consistent efforts, patience, and the power of compounding. To sum up the whole discussion, these 8 laws aren't just financial advice, they are life lessons. They teach us that wealth isn't just about earning money. It's about managing it wisely, understanding its dynamics, and having the patience to let it grow. Remember, the path to wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. So lace up your shoes and let's start running. The finish line? A financially secure and prosperous life. Last but not least, I want to remind you of a special offer. You can enjoy any audiobook for free by clicking on the link below this video. Also, you can find a list of suggested books and where to buy them below. The purpose of this video is to educate you on various aspects of investing and not to give you any specific investment advice. Investing involves risks and uncertainties, and you should always do your own research and consult with qualified professionals before making any financial decisions. However, past performance does not guarantee future results, and you should always consider the risk of investments before putting your money at stake. If you find this video helpful, I recommend you watch my next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to leave your comment below. I appreciate your support, and I hope to see you in my next video.